All right, today we're going to talk about evaluating algebraic expressions, all right? And let's take a look at example 1. I've written it on the board, and this is the rules, the law of the means of Persians. Every time you see a letter, you're going to put a set of parentheses. Every cotton picking time. There's no exceptions whatsoever. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to evaluate 3a squared minus b plus c to the third, and we're going to allow a to be 1, b to be 4, and c to be 3. We've started simple. They're all positive. They're easy numbers. They're not fractions. All right? So that's good. So all we're going to do is we're going to rewrite this, but when we rewrite it, every time we come into a letter, we're going to put a what?
Parentheses.
Yeah, we're going to put parentheses. And you're going to do that every single time you run into a letter. So let's go ahead and do it, all right? Is 3 a letter?
Yes.
No. So I'm not going to put a parenthesis. So I'm going to write 3. Oh, look. There's a letter.
Yes.
So parentheses, all right? So we're going to put it there, and then I'm going to write squared minus b's another letter. Parentheses. Plus
C,
C, parentheses to the third, okay? That is the first thing I'm going to do on every single kind of problem that looks like this, all right? It's just how it is. There's no way around it. There's no exception. It's what you're going to do. And you're going to do it in such a way that allows you to not make mistakes. And you'll see as you continue to do problems, okay? Now, here's what we're going to do. After we're done putting the set of parentheses, we're going to plug in our variables, all right? This is the letter A, and A is what?
B. 1.
1, all right? Now, our mind wants to take shortcuts, and I can, 3a squared, I bet that's 3. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, I get it. I know that. I realize that. But you still need to do that. You know why? Because this is a simple problem, and they're going to get harder. I don't want you to make careless errors, okay? So, B happens to be 4. So we're going to replace this with B, and C happens to be 3. Now, when we do PEMDAS, we have to do all the powers first, and we have a couple of those. So we don't do 3 times 1 here. We do 1 times 1, which is 1, right? Minus 4 plus 3 times 3 is 9. Times 3 is what? 27, right? It's not 9. It's not 3 plus 3 plus 3. 9. We don't write that, right? It's 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, all right? 3 times 1 is?
3.
3 minus 4 plus 27. 3 minus 4 is a negative 1. Negative 1 plus 27 is a positive 26. Okay, there's our answer. Now, we have some fractions on this one. Let's do them, all right? Follow me, okay? So, letters. 3 letters, 3 parentheses, okay? Here's the x squared, here's the y, here's the z to the cubed. The y does not have a power, okay? So we put our parentheses, now we fill back in. X is going to be a negative 1/2, okay? Y is going to be a negative 2, and z is going to be 1/4. Now watch carefully, okay? We all have parentheses, and that's how we're going to treat these powers differently because we have parentheses. So negative 1/2 squared. That means negative 1/2 is going to be stamped 2 times. What's a negative times a negative?
Positive.
A positive. So know that that's going to be positive, right? Well, what is 1/2 times 1/2? It's simply 1.
4.
2 times 2 is 4. So a positive 1/4 is that being solved. Then we have the negative 2. All right. Oh, we have 1/4. All right. We have 1/4 stamped how many times?
3
3. So let's put that up here. 1/4 times 1/4 times 1/4. 1 times 1 times 1. 1. Okay. It's 1. All right. 4, 4, and 4. 16 times 4. 64. Not 12.
No.
Not 12, like some of you might write. Okay, follow me. All right, 1 over 64, we're going to write that down. Okay, now, it turns out 2 as a fraction is 2 over 1. We understand that our answer is going to be what? Because we only have 1. We have an odd number of negatives. So we have a negative, all right? Now, let's go ahead and let me rewrite this as a negative 2 over 1. I put the 2 up in the denominator, all right? 2 fourths is reduced to what?
1/2.
1/2. So that's a 1, that's a 2. 1 times 1 times 1, right around 1. When you double 64, all right?
128.
You get 128, negative 128, okay? Now, the math, the positive and negative, the multiplication, you got to keep it all in order. You got to follow the order of operations, but you got to make sure that every time you have a letter, you put a set of parentheses, okay? Now, your book goes on. I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, all right? But I'm going to end up, take a look and flip the page to page 52, all right? Let's listen, all right? 52, look at the top there. We're talking about formulas. There's also a formula on the bottom of the one page as well. The formula on the bottom of the page is actually a Fahrenheit and Celsius formula. If you know the Celsius of something, you can obviously plug it in, and you can find out what the Fahrenheit is, and vice versa. All right. Formulas are used. In fact, your book states a formula is an equation that expresses the relationship between related quantities. All right. Well, to put that in regular terms, all right, we have perimeter and distance and things like that. Your book's listed there. So let's do a problem, all right? We want to find the perimeter of something that's 8 centimeters by 3 centimeters, okay? A rectangle. If we draw it about to scale, there's 8, then there's 3, okay? And we need to find the perimeter. The perimeter of a rectangle is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, right? Okay? So the length, so what we end up doing is just like our letters, we put a set of what? Parentheses. So the perimeter of this is going to be 2 times the length of 8 plus 2 times the width of 3. All right? So what is 2 times 8? 16 plus 6, and our perimeter is 16 plus 6? 22. Okay? 22 square centimeters would be what our area is. All right? The other thing is finding the area. Radius is 9. All right? If we have a circle, and from the center out, the radius is 9, the area of a circle is pi r squared. All right? And so what do? We end up taking the radius, it's a letter, we put a set of what? Parentheses. So the area is pi and then 9 squared. Well, what is 9 times 9? Not 18, but 81. So our area is 81 times what we use as 3.14 pi. We generally just go out 2 decimal places. We would multiply 3.14 times 81. I think your book gives the answer here. It's one that we already used, 254.34 feet squared. All right. So formulas we plug in, you've used them before. We'll be using some different ones as your book kind of shows you, and especially even on your homework. All right. But the biggest thing you need to remember is when I run into a letter, I put a set of what? Parentheses. That's the first thing we do. Then we plug in our variables, and then we solve using the proper order of operations.